Have you ever poured hours of high-effort work into a project only to find yourself suddenly derailed? You lose focus, you start procrastinating, and pull away right before a major breakthrough. We usually blame this on a lack of willpower, but it is actually a biological conflict. Your rational, conscious mind wants to move forward, while your dominant subconscious mind is hitting the brakes. Today, we are going to bridge that gap. We will build a written subconscious action plan to align your neural filters with your conscious goals. To do this properly, you need to physically write it down. Grab a pen and a piece of paper right now. Translating these thoughts into physical output is a required step for neural reprogramming. By the end of this session, you will stop being a passive observer of your biology and start actively programming your own success. Let's begin. Step 1 is programming your filter. Deep inside your brain is a network called the Reticular Activating System, or RAS. Think of it as your brain's goal positioning system. Every second, your brain absorbs millions of bits of data. This paper on cognitive psychology details how the brain filters that massive influx down to just a few thousand relevant points, a phenomenon known as selective attention. The RAS is the filter deciding what gets through to your conscious awareness. Without a specific command, it defaults to a fear-based survival mode, constantly scanning your environment for threats instead of opportunities. You have to give your RAS a clear destination. On your paper, write down one goal. Make it uncomfortably specific. Instead of grow my business, write secure 3 new high-ticket clients by November. The moment you write down a highly specific goal, your brain releases a hit of dopamine. This chemical response heightens your motivation and activates your pattern recognition. Setting this goal is a biological command. It forces your brain to start noticing the resources, connections, and paths to success that were previously filtered out as white noise. Now for step 2, the internal audit. Your conscious mind wants growth. Your subconscious mind wants safety and familiarity. When you push toward a new goal, your biology tries to protect you by maintaining the status quo. Think of your willpower as a human rider and your emotional conditioning as a massive elephant. This study on automaticity highlights what happens when they conflict. When the elephant of your subconscious resists, raw willpower always loses. This resistance usually takes the form of self-sabotage, driven by the need to control your failure, the comfort of familiar neglect, deeply learned childhood patterns, or finding an external scapegoat. Look at your paper and write down your primary avoidance behavior. What is the emergency brake you pull when you get close to success? Is it stress eating, starting arguments, or endlessly scrolling on your phone? Psychological research shows that you cannot control or gate a mental process unless you are consciously aware it is occurring. By naming the sabotage on paper, you pull it out of the background of automatic, efficient mental structures and move it into your conscious field, where it can finally be interrupted. Now, step 3 is rewriting the loop. To deconstruct how these automatic processes lead to failure, we use the tier model: thought, emotion, action, and result. Looking at this research on cognitive systems, we see how these automatic sequences govern behavior. Tracing the sequence, a negative thought, like "I am not intelligent enough," triggers an emotion, like anxiety. That emotion drives an action, avoiding work, guaranteeing a result of failure. On your paper, draw this 4-step sequence for your specific sabotage habit. Then take your pen and physically cross out the initial thought. To break the habit loop, you must keep the original cue that triggers you and the reward you seek, but swap out the routine. You replace the negative thought with an alternative that leads to a productive action. This text on skill acquisition describes a process called compilation. When you repeatedly practice a new routine, your brain compiles the steps, eventually allowing you to perform them automatically and with minimal effort. When you replace a fear-based thought with a goal-oriented one, you shift the brain's internal signaling. Instead of triggering the stress response of cortisol and adrenaline, you cue the reward system to release dopamine. This change in chemistry lowers internal resistance, making the action phase of work feel driven by motivation rather than forced by willpower. Finally, step 4 is the 10-minute alignment. Reprogramming your brain requires frequency. You need a daily alignment slot to keep your conscious and subconscious mind synchronized. Below your tier model, write down 2 to 3 present tense affirmations. State your goal as a current, existing fact. For example, I confidently execute my daily tasks. Next, allocate 5 minutes for consummate visualization. Close your eyes and run through a sensory-rich mental rehearsal of achieving your goal. See the outcome clearly and feel the success. Throughout the day, when you feel stress or sabotage creeping in, use a physical anchor called neutral gear to reset your nervous system. Take your hand and physically move it as if you are shifting a car's gear stick into neutral. Pair this deliberate motion with a slow, deep breath to quickly dissipate the stress chemical cortisol. Practicing this morning routine serves as a daily calibration for your RAS. It ensures your brain spends the rest of your day actively seeking out wins instead of scanning for threats. Look down at your paper. You now hold a completed subconscious action plan. This is a functional roadmap designed directly for your biology. Your challenge is the first light test. Tomorrow morning, before you check your phone or open a single digital device, perform your 10-minute alignment routine. To anchor your commitment right now, go to the comments below and host one of your present tense affirmations. Put your intention on record. When the rider and the elephant move in the same direction, you stop spending your energy fighting internal resistance. Progress is no longer an exhausting war of willpower, but the steady result of a brain and body in total alignment.